The Swibold Preserve is a beautiful 11-acre property located in North Canton, nestled between Cherry Brook Road and Case Street. The property features a 0.7-mile loop trail that takes you down along two picturesque brooks and through a mixed hemlock and hardwood forest. As you hike along the trail, you will find remnants of the history of the land, as an old dam can still be found on the property. This beautiful property was generously donated to the Canton Land Conservation Trust by Dick and Gretchen Swibold in 2018.
I'm Gretchen Swibold, and my husband and I, Dick Swibold, and I gave this property to the Land Trust because we thought it was beautiful and we wanted to believe that it would be well cared for over the years and remain in its natural state, or as natural as anything can be in this time. We bought 18 acres in 1971, and it was this land trust property and the 5 acres up by my house. But the 18 acres was part of a much larger parcel that belonged to Ambrose Case. He was the earliest that we know of owner of this greater property. And he lived from 1805 to 1883, and he was a farmer. His property included the house that is north of my house, which he built in 1829. Before Dick built this bridge, we went across on stones. In the 90s, he built this bridge. And there are some nice pictures of him with his grandson, Adam. And I think one of the prettiest places is when we go right here and along Small Brook, we come to the confluence for Cherry Brook and Small Brook. And it's very pretty, I think, there. And you see how small this is compared to Cherry Brook, which is a pretty good-sized brook. We felt always very lucky that our children could play in the brooks here, that our grandchildren could.
Because of this generous donation, this land long enjoyed by the Swibold family can now be explored and enjoyed by you and your family. The trail begins at the parking lot, which is located at 727 Cherry Brook Road. The trail almost immediately descends downhill towards the first brook, named Small Brook by the Swibold family. In the spring months, this upper portion of the trail can be lined with different flowers, including wild geranium with its nice lavender-colored blooms, and red trillium with its star-shaped red blooms. The trail levels out and brings you down towards Small Brook, with large boulders scattered along the ground and a variety of ferns and shrubs growing in the understory. Chipmunks can be heard and seen scurrying about among these large rocks. Once you are down along the brook, you suddenly feel you are in a different place, far removed from the busy road just up the hill, as the sounds of flowing water fill the air. There are now large hemlocks in the canopy providing shade. Large red and white oaks are also abundant in the canopy. The understory has dense thickets of mountain laurel, as well as hemlocks, striped maples, and birches growing. The bridge built by Dick Swibold offers a nice vantage point to look both up and down the stream. A little way upstream, the brook forms a small pool where the Swibold children and grandchildren used to play in the water. The brook flows through a series of rocks and boulders, and the banks are lined with bright green moss, ferns, and flowers to add color to the area. From the bridge, the trail splits either left or right. Taking the trail to the right will bring you to the confluence of Small Brook and Cherry Brook, and eventually to the remnants of the old dam. The trail to the left takes you to the same area, but will lead you uphill through the forest before eventually bringing you back down along Cherry Brook. If you decide to head left first, the trail will proceed uphill, providing a nice vantage point of Small Brook on your left. This brook looks like a green ribbon flowing through the forest, with its bright green moss-covered rocks lining the stream on either side. Much of the understory in this area is sparse. However, there are pockets of dense mountain laurel thickets. These dense thickets are perfect habitats for a variety of migrant birds, including black-throated blue warblers, veery, and ovenbirds. If you visit in June, the mountain laurel will also be exploding in color with their pink and white blossoms. The canopy also comes alive with the songs of scarlet tanagers, vireos, and other warbler species who can be heard throughout the forest. If you're lucky, one of these birds, such as the black-throated green warbler, may come down from above and you'll be able to see them up close. The trail continues along through the forest and eventually begins a slight descent towards Cherry Brook. This brook is nearly twice the size of Small Brook, which was crossed earlier. This cold water brook has areas of slow-moving pools that transition into sections of fast-flowing water, where the water forms small rapids over the rocks within the stream. Along the side, managed by the Canton Land Conservation Trust, many of the banks are made up of large boulders, creating areas with steep banks. These boulders and rock piles create nesting areas for eastern phoebes. A pair can often be seen foraging over the brook, perching on the overhanging branches and flying out to catch insects in midair. Their maneuverability is a sight to be seen. This habitat found within the Swibold Preserve is also the perfect habitat for another unique species, the Louisiana water thrush. This bird breeds along fast-flowing streams with adequate rocks to act as perches where it can forage for insects. Louisiana water thrush are good indicators of overall stream health, as they are found more readily in areas with high macroinvertebrate populations. Many of these macroinvertebrates that this species preys on are sensitive to pollution, and therefore their presence in the stream signifies clean water. If you listen carefully while sitting along either Small Brook or Cherry Brook, you will hear the high-pitched call of the water thrush, and may even be able to see it foraging along the rocks with its distinct tail bob. The remnants of the old dam can be found on both sides of Cherry Brook, with most of them being found on the opposite side of the bank. It is believed that this dam may have been used to power a grist mill, which was known to be on this property, when Ambrose Case worked the land as a farm. The Hartford Courant described Ambrose as an enterprising farmer, and by his industry acquired considerable property, which included a grist mill. It is unclear if this was the location of the grist mill, or if it was located on Small Brook. However, it is certain that this land looked much different when it was used as a farm. Much of the area was likely cleared and used for pastures or field. Since then, the forest has regrown to provide a glimpse of what it may have looked like prior to human alteration. The trail follows Cherry Brook, offering numerous spots to sit and enjoy the sounds of flowing water, which drowns out any of the traffic noise which may be in the area. This helps you to escape into nature even further. Large boulders line the confluence where the two brooks meet, and this marks one of the prettiest areas of the property. On an oak tree at this corner of the property, a lion's mane fungus was previously seen. This is an interesting looking mushroom, and an exciting find within the preserve. The remainder of the trail leads you back to the bridge, following along Small Brook. Small ferns and flowers line the trail, and it becomes obvious that this is a much smaller brook than Cherry Brook. The size of Small Brook doesn't take away from the beauty of it, and this stream is also foraged by Louisiana water thrush, much like Cherry Brook is. Veery can also be seen foraging along the brook and picking insects off the moss-covered rocks. These birds are often found in moist, deciduous forests, and are often found along streams. The land and different habitats found within this preserve make it home to a variety of species, all who can now live on land that will be preserved into the future thanks to the donation by the Swibold family and the management by the Canton Land Conservation Trust. These protections ensure that this area will remain a forested and productive habitat, and allow for visitors from all over to come and enjoy the forest brooks and the history that can be found on this property. Thank you for visiting this beautiful property, and be sure to remember to carry out what you carry in to ensure this land will remain undisturbed.